everybody. This is Destiny. You guys can call me Tiny Des. Today I'm starting a brand new series. It's going to be called The History of Things. I was substitute teaching at an elementary school, and we had to read this article to special needs kids, and I was actually really fascinated by it, especially because it was about New Jersey and an Atlantic City Expo in 1912. So it was about deodorant. So today I'm going to go over pretty much what was in the article because I thought it was interesting. You can tell me if you learned something new after the fact. So in 1912 at this Atlantic City Expo, this girl named Edna Murphy was there selling a product called Odor Ono. Her dad made the product because he was a surgeon and he wanted to make sure that his metal utensils didn't slide while he was performing surgeries. So she decided that the product could be used also under armpits so that people could stop smelling. But at the time, it was weird to not sweat. They thought that it was unnecessary to not sweat because it was a natural human function. So at the time, the only ways they can get rid of smelling was washing or perfuming or wearing dress shields. And if you get clothes from Goodwill, you might still see them sometimes. I mean, 1912 was a long time ago, but they still had them. And it's basically like a little cloth that's under, it sewn into the shirt so that it would catch your sweat and that you wouldn't feel it on you. Anyway, so in the past, ancient Egyptians would put fragrant paste on their wrists made out of ostrich eggs and tortoise shells. And in ancient Greek, they would scrape off their sweat with metal tools. And then in early Rome, they would start spending all that time in bathhouses. I know there's a lot of old movies that talk about bathhouses. And they'd be there socializing, doing business, trying to get clean, all of that. So by the 15th century, Europe is where they started to realize they didn't really like bathing. So at this whole time period, people thought that if you bathed, you were letting diseases into your body because water would open up your pores and then the diseases would just get in. So in Europe, bathing became only for special occasions because they weren't trying to welcome diseases and sickness into their lives. Oh, so in America, during the Civil War, a French scientist named
what's his name? I wrote it down. Lewis? I just wrote French scientist. The French scientist
discovered that illness got into your body because of germs and not necessarily in through your pores. So they started doing hand washing, and in America they built all their new cities off this new information. So there was running water now, there was bathtubs in every house. So if you see that now, we got bathtubs in every home. I mean, more modern ones have just showers now, or more expensive, nicer bathtubs. But even then, bathtubs became a more, usual thing. So it became a very American thing to be clean and cleanly. And that's why Europeans built up this rep for themselves of being funky, and Americans were cleanly. And in older TV shows and movies, you can see that kind of not battle, but you'll see little references to that. And you guys have probably seen stuff like that already. So back to Odor Ono and Edna Murphy in Atlantic City at the expo. So while she was there, it was a really, really hot day. So her product actually sold out. I mean, one of the main issues is it ate through your clothes, inflamed your skin. But people bought it anyway. But then she was I want more. So she decided to hire an advertising agency, and it was this guy named James Young or Mr. Young, something like that. And he decided to let out this campaign that said, basically that sweating was a medical problem and that you needed Odor Ono to cure that problem. But it only sold, sales only spiked a little bit. So then she was I want more. So then he decided to launch this big campaign targeting women that basically said that if you sweat, then you're never gonna get married. And of course, a lot of people were upset because they were why are you treating us like this? We thought you were our friend, because he wrote for magazines and stuff. And they were really? Why would you do this? But it still got over on a lot of women. All those insecurities were eaten up, and they ended up buying the product anyway. And then later on, they were like, we can use this on men too. Let's use those insecurities against them. So they decided to put the same product in masculine bottles, and then it sold to men too. They used their insecurities by advertising that if you were sweaty, you could lose your job. Especially in the Great Depression in the 1930s, all these men were out here without jobs, and they were like, it's because I sweat. So they were pretty upset about it. So yeah, that was mostly what it said in the article. It talks a lot more about the science portion of why you sweat and why it smells, because apparently it's not actually because of the sweat itself is smelly. It's the fact that when you sweat, it interacts with the bacteria on your body, and that's what causes the smell. And that's also why you can take a shower and it just washes it all away. So if you were interested in that article, leave a comment down below. And if you want more stuff like this, maybe a history of ties, I'm thinking about doing that one next. Or I said before, the history of chairs, because they started off as rocks. They turned into something like thrones and stuff later on. I don't know. So give me some ideas, and thanks for watching. Follow, subscribe, and like this video. Thanks. Bye, guys. You stop it. Did you stop the time? You are getting sick.
I told you.
If it was something you could tell me if it's something new you learned. That doesn't sound right.